has dating changed since you ran that strip club? How, in your opinion, has the dating landscape changed since your discovery, I guess, of what we now call Red Pill Truth to now here in 2025?
Yeah, so it's changed so much, and I wanted to actually go back and give specifics. So go back. So before 2004, there's no text messaging is not prevalent in the United States, and there's no bottle service before 2004. If you read like kind of the origin of bottle service in the United States, like the table bottle service was Marquee Nightclub owned by Jason Strauss in Manhattan, probably 2003, 2004, somewhere around that area. Once that happened, then what happened was you started. Now, for those of you who are really older, like me and Aaron Clary and Rolo probably remember this, Hooters used to have beautiful women. I know you guys think I'm out of my mind and that I'm crazy. Put a one in the chat if you guys are old enough to remember. When Hooters opened, it was tens. It's not like now where it's a bunch of overweight babies, mamas, whenever you go to Hooters. Back then, Hooters had tens because there was no OnlyFans. Girls were not going to strip clubs. There were no social media influencers, and there was no bottle service work. So you would go to and then later on Twin Peaks, the girls there were all dimes. It was crazy. Then when bottle service happened, there was two things that kind of, three: text messaging, MySpace, and bottle service started to extract some of the attention away from the guy who goes into the bar and meets the girl. It becomes a little bit of a distraction. So now I can mass text girls. Now we have the promoter thing. I had an app called Hit 'em Up. I can now mass text girls as a promoter. I can display my status on MySpace. These are just like preliminary things. Still, most girls are not on MySpace like in 04. Sure. And then bottle service. Now you start having girls making 150, 200 grand a year as a bottle service waitress at some of these bigger and bigger clubs. And then later on, Dre's opens up in Las Vegas, and then XS nightclub. And then now this whole and then there's also these big clubs in Miami and New York and Los Angeles. So now this thing starts cranking up. And then once we get to Facebook and then Instagram, now it's like the idea of becoming an influencer and getting paid to do that is even more prevalent. So now prettier girls are their attention is being sucked away from the IRL market of going out and meeting people. This completely destroys the nightclub scene in Los Angeles is absolutely garbage now because of what's happened because of this. So what's happened is now before, let's just say like 1997, a girl would have to go to a club to show off her new dress, her haircut, her nails. She got a new car or her boyfriend. Now she doesn't have to do that. And as we slowly get further and further along, Instagram starts pulling girls even out of the strip. Like Instagram destroyed strip clubs. Like strip clubs used to be full of tens and that. Yeah, and then so now we get to probably around 2019 and then 2020. OnlyFans starts like 2018, something like that. When OnlyFans happens during the pandemic, that is the ultimate death knell, because what happens is now the girls leave the strip club. The girls that are in the bottle service, they stop working in bottle service, and girls going out on a regular basis are getting so much validation through social media because they don't have to go out that it actually we just showed this clip the other day. Every week, 5 new nightclubs in London are closing down because people are not going out anymore. It was actually Owen Cook, former professional pickup artist, who was sending me these videos. He's like, when I go out, guys, you never believe. I went to Ledoux in Los Angeles in 2006, and I saw nothing but tens. I go to any nightclub in any city in America, and there's way more dudes than girls. And so what's happened is the virtual nature of dating, which is dating apps, Instagram, etc., has caused it where there's a few guys at the top that are able to display massive amounts of value passively with low perceived effort, and a large group of men that are suffering. Now, unless you're extremely good looking or you're rich or something like that, those guys, I'm not talking about those guys. I'm talking about average guys. And then the numbers bear that out. 26% of men under 30 are virgins. 2/3 of men under 30 are single. On dating apps, men match 6 out of every 1,000 right swipes. Let me say that again. Wow. The average guy on a dating app, it's 6 matches for every 1,000 right swipes. For women, it's 100 matches for every 1,000 right swipes. And so we start seeing these things over and over again. There's 68% of men. This is the craziest stat I've ever heard. 68% of men report being friend zoned after matching with a girl on a dating app. 60.
I'm surprised it's that low.
Look it up. 60. You're paying money to a dating app to get friend zone. Look the data up. If you don't believe me, I'll show it to you. So what's happened is there's a group of guys who are doing really well, and they're doing even better than they've ever done before. And then there's a large group of guys that are going without sex for 2 or 3 years. And social media has made it where women now, before you had the guy who was the 8. Let's just say he's the personal injury attorney in Wichita. He marries the cute girl who works at Hooters, and that doesn't happen anymore. the cute girl who works at Hooters, and I'm using a specific example. There's an influencer named JoJo Von Softy. She lived in Wichita when I lived there as well. She got flown out to a Maxim party in Los Angeles, met a guy, and then was the first girl on Instagram with 10 million followers. So a kind of a cute girl in Wichita gets 10 million followers in Los Angeles. These women that were at the top in whatever small city are being sucked out of the market because of social media. And so it makes it progressively more and more difficult. Then add to the fact that now people are having fewer and fewer interactions. Now men who are already less calibrated than women fall even further behind women as far as calibration is concerned. And now let's make it even worse. The skill set that I would teach you to have boundaries, talk with bass in your voice, go to the gym, level up as a man, is now deemed toxic by the American Psychological Association.
That's right.
So now not only is what was being taught that was helping you with women not being taught, it's now being taught by woke liberal organizations that what I'm teaching you is now harmful and toxic. Please look it up. Traditional masculinity deemed harmful by the American Psychological Association. They came out with this finding in 2019. If you guys
I remember when that happened.
So all of these things are confluenced together to create this quagmire that we're in right now, where there's a bunch of women who think that they can date these men who are 10s because they fucked a 10, they think they can date a 9, and they can't get anyone to commit. The lowest marriage rate in history, where men and women are sexless. Now, one of the good parts, teenage pregnancy. You guys remember teenage pregnancy in the 90s?
Going down.
You guys remember that?
Yeah.
Gone. No, it's gone. It's gone. There's no more teenage pregnancy because no one's having sex. Well, I mean, it's not completely gone, but it's almost completely gone. Right. It's nowhere near what it was. That was a huge problem. You remember teenage drunk driving? Do you remember that was a big problem back in the 90s? Yeah. Gone because nobody, this generation doesn't get driver's license. A lot of them just use Uber. So we've gotten to a point now where there's been this huge, massive change. They're not drinking either. We've gotten to this huge, massive change where we're having, what are we talking about, guys? We're on Zoom right now doing a call where we're all in different places. We weren't able to do this 10 years ago. We didn't even have the bandwidth to pull off what we're doing right now. All of this has become so virtual. And what it's done is the men who can passively display high status effortlessly get endless amounts of sex with beautiful women. The men who cannot display that level of high status are suffering, and they're going out to bars where there's 4 guys to every girl. That's the society that we're in, and it has to do mainly with technology. Like I said before, starting with text messaging, bottle service, then later on social media, Instagram, then OnlyFans, Patreon, etc. That's where we've gotten into the place that we are now. And then so me and Fresh will host a panel show, and we have these OnlyFans influencers who are like dying to come on our show because they want more attention so they can get more simps to subscribe to their OnlyFans. Yep. And then it's become this incredible business model for them, but they don't go out to clubs. I talk to these girls all the time. Like in Vegas, hot girls don't go anywhere unless they're being paid. It's just the whole situation has changed. And so that's what's going on. And I hear pickup artists telling me that I'm wrong and no. And then I always ask them, okay, show me photos. And they can't. And then I show them photos of these massive events I throw where it's like 25 girls for every guy. And they can't comprehend that social circle and social media being a leader with women is actually the cheat code for getting women in 2025. The truth cannot be misogynistic. The truth cannot be bigoted. The truth cannot be racist. The truth is only the truth. If I show data that shows that women have lower marital satisfaction the more sexual partners they have, or if I show that data, that doesn't make me a misogynist because it's true. And you demonetizing me, all you're doing is demonetizing me because I'm not fitting your narrative. That if what's coming in the future is we're changing that, then that's what's terrific. But then you look at like content creators, like again, Chris G.Q. Perry, Will Hitchens, Justin Baldoni, the fact that these people have these massive followings when the advice they're giving is anti-truth. It's scandalous. The advice that these men give to like be nice, like you just met a girl, tell her how incredibly attractive she is when you first meet her. That is fucking terrible, terrible advice. And I can show you male model dating coaches on social media telling men, buy women flowers on the first date. Make sure it is your duty as a man to pay for her stuff on the date. I'm like, I'll pay for her stuff if I had a good date, but it's not my fucking duty as a man. My duty is to be a man. That's what my duty is. My duty is to protect the woman who is actually worth being a part of my life. The woman who is worth being the mother of my children. She earned that. And so instead of what we're doing is we're teaching men, the big tech, the media, all these different places, they're teaching you be more vulnerable. The reason why women say be yourself is so they can pick out the fucking losers quicker. Don't listen to this shit. It's terrible, terrible advice. Again, I have 3,000 receipts. They have 0. That's it. So the thing is, for us, what can we do to get back to the golden days? Not worried about the golden days. As long as we improve every day, and as long as those of us on this panel make it a priority to help the men that we can. Because I'll be honest with you, I'm with Aaron Clary, dude. It's the Titanic running into an iceberg. What we are, though, is the captain of the lifeboats. Each one of us is the captain of the lifeboat. The Red Rational Mel is a lifeboat. Men of Action is a lifeboat. The Fresh and Fit is a lifeboat. We are the captains of these lifeboats. That's the best thing we can do. Now, here's the other thing. It's never been easier if you just become aware of what the of what the world's doing to you when it comes to inflation, dating, intersexual dynamics, whatever. If you just become marginally aware and just show the fuck up every day, don't eat trash, just avoid obesity, scarcity, poverty, and ignorance. If you can just avoid those things, it's never been easier to get in the top 1%. Never. I'm 47 years old. I've never had this many women throw themselves at me. Never. And the reason why is because I choose to not listen to bullshit that I see when I watch the movie Hitch, where I'm supposed to obsess over one woman or whatever. And you know what I do watch? I watch Californication, which got canceled. I'm not worried about a movement for all of men. I'm just I'm worried about a movement for the men that we're talking to right now, because you're the only one. You're just the Navy SEALs. I'm just here for you 300 Spartans. You're the only motherfuckers I care about. The rest of them, they can go off and keep believing this bullshit, whatever they want to, happy wife, happy life, whatever nonsense that they need to believe in order to be happy. They can continue to believe that. I don't hate them, but I know what the truth is. I have seen the truth, and I have too many testimonials for me to start believing anything else. I know what the truth is. I believe in Red Pill as it is a derivative of evolutionary psychology. And in doing so, I have found nothing but good advice for men that has helped men, and I have the receipts to prove it.
Wow, well said.
Hey, I want to ask questions, Sartain.
A second. Look at the video that Rollo and I did specifically over the Department of Homeland Security, spending $61 million to try to divert people from what they thought to be toxic masculine or masculine or terroristic organizations. I forgot exactly what the term was, but 700,000 specifically was diverted, was given to a program called Divert Hate. In the diverting hate thing, and this is in their literature, they were running ads and trying to tell YouTube to divert traffic from our content to content like the Man Enough podcast. Again, this is not conjecture. I'm not some crazy. This is not Alex Jones saying crazy shit. This is an absolute, indefatigable fact, and we show you the documents in the video that we gave. Your government was telling you that your government was telling you that traditional masculinity was harmful. That is not my opinion. When you see this content, this is not some conspiracy we're coming up with. This is a fact. We talk about it in general. Hey, YouTube doesn't like us. We're demonetized. I was demonetized for no reason.
There's literally legislation, paperwork where, just like Sartain said, they spent $61 million to suppress this information. Why? Because a guy that understands his value is the most dangerous thing that can happen to a cucked out fucking economy. There's your paper right there.
Guys,
for those that don't believe me.
It is. The Department of Homeland Security made this. This is not diverting hate, misogynistic extremism, the manosphere. This is a document by the federal government saying the word manosphere. This is not me. I'm not sitting there crying wolf. Watch the video where Rollo and I take this apart piece by piece.
There was a congressional meeting on this too.
They were diverting our fucking traffic.
Mike, they had a whole congressional meeting on this shit as well, saying how it's dangerous. And again, the reason why it's dangerous, guys, because a man that has value and understands his value is very dangerous, okay? Women aren't going to be able to manipulate him. He's not going to be a simp spending a bunch of money on stupid industries that don't benefit him.
V-Day.
Like Valentine's Day, which is why we want to have this podcast on Valentine's Day. A guy that is aware of his value is extremely dangerous. So that's why they do this bullshit. That's why you have these idiots. That's why they go ahead and push idiots like Anus and Reach, Moist Critical, Philion, all these different channels that talk shit about the manosphere, all these different liberal, left-leaning channels that talk shit about masculinity, becoming a better man, self-improvement. They push those channels because they want to keep you poor. They want to keep you fat. They want to keep you stupid. They want to keep you sitting there wasting time on YouTube getting mindless fucking entertainment. They want to keep you watching sports. They don't want you to self-improve, because if you self-improve, you're going to realize that you're living in a fucking dumbass matrix. You're fat, poor, lazy. That's why women don't want you. And if you wake up and you actually do what you need to fucking do, guess what? They can't make money off of you. Yeah. That's why they don't want you guys knowing this fucking information is dangerous. One thing, right? And I really dislike to even say this, but the truth is the truth, and I kind of had to say it. The reason why the Black Manosphere died, right, is simply because Kevin Samuels didn't put his people on. Just going to be honest about it. He became famous. He blew up. He didn't, extend the ladder back and put his guys on, and it died. That's just what happened. Once he got into the mainstream, he didn't bring anybody up with him. And that's the cold hard truth. I hate to say that shit, but it's the truth. And, for us, we adopted a little bit of a different mindset where we're going to blow up and we're going to bring everybody up that came alongside us. And I've seen, everyone go off on their own and, build really successful independent channels. Everyone here is well over 100,000, where, before that was unheard of in the manosphere, right? So I think from this point forward, right, sticking together and doing periodic podcasts like this where guys are able to comment on culture, current events, etc., because things are changing rapidly. Every year, something new is going on, right? 2020, it was a TikTok boom. 2021, it was a pandemic and dealing with that. 2022, oh shit, Trump is going to run again. Like, every year, there's like a new thing going on. And the thing is with the Red Pill, it's not just women. It's the truth in general, right? You can apply it to so many different endeavors. So that's what I noticed was, the one thing on the Kevin Samuels legacy that I wish he did was put on his people. And he simply didn't. He simply didn't. It's just the truth, and it sucks. Maybe he didn't have enough time. Maybe that was the plan before he passed away. I know that he had something going on, but what I will say is when he did those Nicki Minaj collabs, when he did those big events, there was no shout out to anybody from the sphere. And it kills me because like a guy like Donovan Sharp platformed him like 80 times, and he never shouted him out. And I always was like, what the hell? Right? And I was like, we're not going to do that. So I think, we absolutely need to stand united and do periodic shows like this.
One of the things I just want to, I'll get to you in just a second, Mike. But one of the things I really need to emphasize here is that we wouldn't, Aaron Clary of all people and myself would not be on a DHS terrorist watch list if what we were saying wasn't threatening to them. If it wasn't that important for them to go and funnel money through an NGO diverting hate to divert our traffic, divert your traffic too, by the way. You guys were on that list. Pearl was on that list. Aaron was on that list.
Modern Life wasn't, was right? He didn't make that.
He's not on the most wanted list. Like NPR was on that list, right? All these people who are on this list, it's like, and I need to stress the point that it's not the people who are on the list, it's the fucking message. It's the message that we're putting out there. They don't, what they want to do is not necessarily take away your subs. They're shadow banning us. They're not even shadow banning us. They're overtly banning us. I don't know if Aaron has told you this, but we've had this conversation before. He's like, have you seen your subs go down? I'm like, my subs have flatlined. Yeah. His super chats have flatlined. Yeah. Everything has flatlined for the last year because of this, and still is, as far as I know. But the reason why we are on that list is because the message is what is threatening to them. They want to destroy the message. They want to destroy the messengers. The reason why they didn't focus on you guys and Pearl was because you were already demonetized. You weren't a threat at that point, because the only way they can destroy us is financially and monetarily.
We've lost subs too, man. It's like there's been, and here's the thing, it's with everyone in this genre. I've noticed this, right? Like, luckily for us, we've been like, kind of saw this coming. We've been building on Rumble. We've been prioritizing Rumble. But YouTube, absolutely. If you're on that DHS list, they absolutely have done something to whether fuck you up in the algorithm, on the viewers. If people that are subscribed to us even tell us, I'm subscribed to your channel. They automatically unsubscribe me, or I don't even know when you're live. It's crazy, dude. Yeah.
Mike, I want to say something real quick before we go on. As far as Black Manosphere is concerned, I want to pull up some stats here. So I want to let you guys know that the work we all did, me as a Hispanic man, you guys as African Americans, the work we all did from like say 2019 all the way up into the election, it mattered for something. Okay, the Harris campaign, traditionally African Americans vote in massive blocks in Democrats. Yep. They lost 10%. Guys, the number of African Americans that voted Republican I'm going to compare 2020 to 2024. It went up to 20% from 13%. Consider all the fucking messaging that they've had. Dude, 41% of Hispanics from 35% started voting Republican. The number of African-American men under the age of 50 that voted Republican was 30%. When you consider for the last 70 years, how it has been ingrained for African-Americans to vote Democrat, how incredible some of these numbers are. What I'm trying to tell you is what we did for 5 years fucking worked. It did work because what we finally did was took minorities, Asian, Indian, Hispanic, Black minorities who had been brainwashed into voting Democrat for 70, 80 years, ever since the Dixiecrats. Finally, for the first time, when they saw the Harris campaign put Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion out there at a fucking strippers up there at a fucking political rally, finally, African-American men, white men, black men said, that's not what I want in a wife. That is not the campaign I want to support. It used to be that Democrats were the party of the disenfranchised. Now the disenfranchised are men. We're the disenfranchised. And so because of that, when you keep showing, when I'm listening to Jennifer Lopez at a Democrat rally crying about the scary orange man, bitch, why didn't you tell us about P. Diddy while you were sitting there fucking with her before you started telling me about Donald Trump? When I'm sitting there, Jennifer Lopez makes a movie about strippers robbing men. I'm sitting there watching Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, Cardi B talking about robbing men when she was a stripper, and you put her up. You put her up at your Democrat rally. That's what you want. Finally, men woke up, and it didn't matter what color they were. They wanted a good woman. And there were two political parties, and one of them was like, how about traditional conservatism, masculinity, and Christianity, or whatever religion you believe in, Islam, whatever. How about we support this idea versus the other one where it's basically like, let's just promote super high body counts and like unlimited abortion. And so we got to that point, and finally, I just want to say the work we did, it worked. I don't care what anyone says. Black men under 50, twice as many of them voting Republican. You don't think all the YouTube stuff we did had something to do with that? You're out of your mind. That's why it happened. And so that was a huge, and I made the prediction before the election that massive numbers of African-American and Hispanic men were going to switch their vote from Democrat to Republican. And that's what happened. And that's why the president won by 6-7 million votes.